Did you clap back at some haters that called your parents rich? What was that all about?
I don't remember. A few people have said that to me before, like, you grew up rich. And I'm like, where do people get this idea? I do not know. Like, I literally grew up, like, really broke, like, modest, lifestyle. Both my parents had good jobs, but, like, we were not rich by any means. I took the MTA bus growing up,
Did you?
Everywhere. I'm very familiar with how to get around all of LA on the MTA bus.
Yeah.
And my dad's a New Yorker who takes subways everywhere. He wasn't like a rich guy who was taking cabs everywhere. Like, we did a lot of walking and a lot of subways. And I didn't come from a wealthy background. So it's just so funny to me when people make these comments, because I'm like, what? How are you so ignorant and assuming that you know my life?
Right.
I think, like, I have like this like cutesy, like, I don't know, white girl look. So maybe people like see me and just like imagine like this like perfect lifestyle or something. But like, that's not how my life was by any means. I grew up with a single mom. Both my parents, struggled, and yeah, it's just it makes me mad when people say that, because I take a lot of pride in like how hard I've worked for what I have. And no disrespect to anybody, there's a lot of people who come from rich families or had famous parents, and it's been a lot easier for those people, but I am not one of those people by any means, and I don't want to ever get mixed up with that. Like, I want people to know how hard I've worked, like, to get to where I am.
Absolutely, and you totally deserve it. How do you deal with all the hate that you get? I feel like every time I turn around and look you up, you're dealing with fans coming after you for like the craziest stuff like we're talking about.
I don't know. It used to get to me a lot more, but I think also, like, I've mentioned this before. I've realized that a lot of people aren't happy in their lives, and sometimes, people don't know how to express themselves, and like sometimes people don't even know that they might be unhappy, and like it kind of like, it's like a subconscious thing, like the hate comes out because they're just not happy with where they're at in life,
Right.
And so sometimes, like, when I see something like really nasty somebody says, I'll like go to look at their page, and like, they don't have a lot of followers, and then I start thinking to myself, like, maybe this person doesn't have a lot of friends, like maybe they're lonely and just depressed, and so instead of clapping back all the time, I do clap back sometimes, but every now and then I just think to myself, like, okay, maybe this person's like going through it, and like, let me just let them vent and get it out somehow or something.
Well, tell me, how's your quarantine been?
It's been good. I've been kind of a mix of like the person who's like really into working out and getting it together, but also like enjoying my time off. I've always been a person that gets up early every day, and I think I've been sleeping in a little more than usual.
Right. Oh my God.
But it's just like, there's obviously not as much going on. So it's like, I've just kind of fallen into a habit of sleeping in a little bit later than normal, which is so not me. Like, I'm such a morning person. So that's one thing. I've just been like waking up a lot later, and I'm like, I guess it's just like, the new, like, it's like I would wake up before because you knew like there's so much to do and get done, and like now that like you're not going out as much and stuff, like you don't like wake up with like as much of an urgency to do things. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, 100%. My sleep schedule since all of this started is just completely out of whack. I'll be wide awake in the middle of the night, and like I'll need a nap like a baby in the middle of the day.
Yeah, I feel you.
Speaking of nothing to do, was that the inspiration for your new single, No Plans? I feel like that was perfect timing with the title of your new track.
Oh, it's funny because I actually made the song before coronavirus.
Cause I ain't got no plans. I ain't got no plans tonight. I ain't got no plans. I ain't got no plans tonight.
But at the time, it was so funny. I made the song on a weekend day where I had no plans. And I was like feeling like flirty vibes, but like not necessarily like dating anybody. I don't know. It was just like, I don't make every song. It doesn't have to be like about like a real guy in my life. Like, I make up stories, I guess you could say.
Right.
So, I just was feeling like kind of like a flirty summer vibe, and I had no plans. And I kind of made a joke about that at the studio. And I was like I was talking to my friend at the studio, and I was like, oh, I don't have no plans tonight. And I was like, oh, wait, no plans tonight. I was like, that could be a song. And like,
yes.
That's how I made the song. And then after, we had this whole pandemic, I noticed everybody kept putting in like their captions on Instagram, they'd be like, oh, no plans, or hashtag no plans.
Right.
And then it hit me. I'm like, I have a song called No Plans. Perfect time to drop it.
Perfect timing. The marketing was built in. It was amazing.
Yeah.